12-year-old orphan Adunni swept dust from her ajagunal doorstep when the mysterious old woman collapsed. No money for treatment, certain death ahead. But Adunni possessed something priceless, a matching kidney. One impossible decision would transform 2 lives and awaken an entire Lagos community to miraculous generosity. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. My name is Chief Emeka Okafor. I am 72 years old. This is the story of how my 3 children got 25 billion Nigerian nairas and threw me out in the rain. But 3 months later they came begging for my help. I was born in a small village in Anambra State. My father was a farmer who died when I was 12. My mother, Mama Ngozi, sold akara and beans every morning to feed our family. I promised myself I would become rich one day and take care of my people. I started with nothing. When I was young, I carried goods at Onitsha market for 50 kobo per day. Then I bought and sold second-hand clothes. I worked from sunrise to sunset. My hands were rough and my back was bent, but I never gave up. When I was 25, I married Adaora. She was the most beautiful girl in our village, with a kind heart like her mother. We had 3 children. First was Chike, then Obiageli, then Ikenna. I loved them more than life itself. I kept working hard. I saved every naira. I bought a small truck and started transporting goods between Lagos and Onitsha. Then I bought more trucks. Then I started an import business, bringing goods from China and selling them across Nigeria. Adaora was my partner in everything. She managed our accounts, talked to customers, and raised our children when I traveled for business. Together we built our empire, one deal at a time. The children grew up in comfort. They attended the best schools in Lagos, Corona School, then King's College and Queen's College. They had drivers, housemaids, and everything money could buy. They never knew hunger like I did as a child. Chike studied law at University of Lagos, then got his master's degree at Oxford. Obiageli studied business at American University. Ikenna became a doctor, training in London. I paid millions of naira for their education because I wanted them to have opportunities one never had. When Adaora got breast cancer 5 years ago, I spent everything I could to save her. The best doctors in Lagos, treatments in India, even specialist care in America. But God called her home anyway. My heart was broken into pieces. After my wife died, I felt very lonely in our big house in Ikoyi. The children were busy with their own lives. Chike was a successful lawyer in Victoria Island. Obiageli ran her own fashion business in Lekki. Ikenna was a consultant at Lagos University Teaching Hospital. I continued working, but the fire in my belly was getting cold. I was getting old. My hands shook when I signed documents. My back hurt every morning when I got out of bed. Last year, I had a serious heart attack during a business meeting in Abuja. When I was lying in the hospital bed at National Hospital, I decided it was time to share my wealth with my children while I could still see them enjoy it. I called my lawyer, Barrister Adebayo. My business empire was worth 25 billion Nigerian nairas. Import companies, transport fleet, real estate in Lagos and Abuja, investments in banks and oil companies. Chief Okafor, Barrister Adebayo said, "Are you sure you want to give everything away now? You should keep money for yourself." "No," I replied. "I want to see my children enjoy the fruits of my labor while I am still alive. They are good children who respect their father. They will take care of me in my old age." I divided my wealth equally among my 3 children. Chike got 8.3 billion Nigerian nairas. Obiageli got 8.3 billion Nigerian nairas. Ikenna got 8.4 billion Nigerian nairas. I kept only my house in Ikoyi and 20 million Nigerian nairas for my basic needs. I called them all for a family meeting at our ancestral compound in the village. It was during the New Yam festival, when all the children come home to honor their elders. I prepared a big feast with goat meat, jollof rice, and palm wine. All 3 came with their families. Chike brought his wife Kemi and their twin boys. Obiageli came with her husband Tund. Ikenna brought his fiancée Amara, who was also a doctor. After we ate and the children played in the compound, I gathered everyone under the big Irako tree where my father used to settle disputes. "My children," I said in Igbo, our native language, "I have something important to tell you. I'm getting old. My heart is weak. I want to give you your inheritance now, while I can see you enjoy it." I handed each of them the legal documents. When they saw the numbers, their eyes became wide like full moon. "Papa, this is incredible," Chike said, looking at the papers with shaking hands. 8 billion naira? Obiageli whispered. "Papa, are you serious?" Ikenna just stared at the documents without speaking. "Yes, my children," I said. "You have all worked hard and made me proud. This is the fruit of your mothers and my labor. Use it wisely and remember to help your people. They hugged me and thanked me. They seemed very happy. I felt like I had done the right thing, just like our ancestors who shared their wealth before joining their ancestors. But things changed very quickly after that day. The following week, Chai called me. Papa, I've been thinking. That big house in Ikoyi is too much for one old man. You should move to something smaller and more manageable. But Chai, I love that house. Your mother and I built it together. All our memories are there. Papa, be practical. You cannot maintain such a big compound at your age. What if something happens and no one is there to help you? Obiageli called the next day. Papa, I found a very nice assisted living facility in Lekki. It has nurses, activities and other elderly people. You would be safer there. Obiageli, I don't want to live in a place for old people. I want to stay in my own home where your mother's spirit still lives. Papa, you're being stubborn. We are your children and we know what's best for you. Ikenna was the worst. He came to visit with 2 men in expensive suits. Papa, these are financial advisors from Goldman Sachs. They think you should sell the house and invest the money in stable bonds. Ikenna, I just gave you 8 billion naira. I want to keep my family home. Papa, old people sometimes make poor financial decisions. We're trying to protect you from yourself. I was confused and hurt. These were not the children I had raised with strong Igbo values. The children I knew respected their elders and took care of their parents. These people seemed like strangers wearing my children's faces. For 2 weeks they pressured me every day. Phone calls, visits, arguments. They said I was too old to live alone. They said the house was dangerous. They said I needed professional medical care. We love you, Papa, Obiageli said. But you must accept reality about your age and health. I started feeling like I was a burden on my own children. The house that was once full of laughter and family gatherings felt cold and empty. 1 month after I gave them the inheritance, Chai came with legal documents. Papa, we have decided. You must move to Golden Sunset Care Home. It's a very good place run by qualified nurses. And if I refuse? Papa, we now have legal guardianship over you. We're making this decision for your own safety and well-being. I was shocked. When did I give you guardianship? It was included in the inheritance documents. You probably didn't read all the legal language. I felt sick to my stomach. My own children had deceived me. What will happen to my house? We're selling it. The money will pay for your care at Golden Sunset. That night I sat in Adora's favorite chair and wept. I looked at her photograph on the side table. Adora, my wife, I whispered, what have I done? What happened to the children we raised with love and traditional values? 3 days later a moving truck came to my house. My children packed my belongings, only clothes and a few personal items. Everything else would be sold with the house. Papa, you'll be happy at Golden Sunset, Obiageli said as she folded my traditional Agbada robes. They have recreational activities and other people your age. I wanted to fight them but I felt so tired. So defeated. So betrayed by the very children I had sacrificed everything for. The rain was falling heavily when they drove me to Golden Sunset Care Home in Surulere. It was a gray building with small windows and high walls. Inside it smelled like disinfectant and loneliness. My room was tiny. 1 bed, 1 plastic chair, 1 small table. There was a window but it faced a concrete wall. We'll visit you very soon, Papa, Ikenna said as they prepared to leave. But they didn't visit. Not the next week. Not the month after. When I called them they were always too busy. Papa, I'm in court, Chaik would say. Papa, I'm meeting with international clients, Obiageli would say. Papa, I'm performing surgery, Ikenna would say. I felt invisible. Like I had ceased to exist in their minds. The other residents at Golden Sunset were kind people, but they had their own problems. Some had children who never visited. Some had memory problems. Some were just waiting to die. I spent my days sitting by my small window thinking about my life. I thought about my village, about Adaora, about how I had worked for 50 years only to end up forgotten in a small room. But I also started thinking about business again. Old habits never die. I noticed that Golden Sunset was very poorly managed. The food was terrible. The building was falling apart. The staff was overworked and underpaid. The residents were treated like burdens instead of human beings with dignity. I started talking to other residents and their families. I learned that the facility was owned by a company called Sunset Healthcare Limited. I used the computer in the common area to research the company. Sunset Healthcare Limited was in serious financial trouble. They owned 30 elderly care facilities across Lagos and Abuja, but they were losing money every month. Poor management, many complaints, lawsuits from angry families. I had an idea that reminded me of my younger days. I still had my 20 million Nigerian nairas. It wasn't much compared to what I had given away, but it was something. More importantly, I still had my business knowledge and experience. I called my old friend Chief Adebola Martins. Chief Adebola and I had done business together for 25 years. He owned several companies and had always respected my judgment. Emeka, how are you, my brother? I heard you retired and gave your children their inheritance. Adebola, I need your help. I want to buy something, but I need a business partner. I told Chief Adebola about Sunset Healthcare Limited. I explained my plan to him. Emeka, are you sure about this? You want to buy a failing nursing home company. Adebola, trust me. I know what I'm talking about. I had studied Sunset Healthcare for weeks. They were desperate to sell. They owed millions to creditors and suppliers. Their reputation was ruined. But I saw the potential. 30 facilities in good locations across Lagos and Abuja. Thousands of elderly people who deserved better care. Families willing to pay premium prices for quality service. Chief Adebola agreed to partner with me. He invested 100 million Nigerian nairas. I put in my 20 million Nigerian nairas and my experience. Together, we offered to buy Sunset Healthcare Limited for 150 million Nigerian nairas, a fraction of its real value. The owners accepted immediately. They were happy to escape their financial nightmare. I moved quickly. I knew the elderly care business from the inside now. I understood what residents needed and what their families wanted. First, I improved the food. Better meals with Nigerian dishes like pepper soup, pounded yam and fresh fish. I hired proper cooks who understood how to prepare food for elderly people. Second, I hired better staff and trained them properly. I taught them to treat residents with respect and dignity, like their own parents and grandparents. Third, I renovated the buildings. Fresh paint, comfortable furniture, better lighting, and proper ventilation. Fourth, I added services that families valued. Physical therapy, cultural activities, transportation for medical appointments, and regular family visits encouraged. The residents became happier. Their families were satisfied. Word spread quickly through Lagos society. Within 2 months, all 30 facilities had waiting lists. Wealthy families were willing to pay high prices for quality elderly care that respected African values and traditions. Within 3 months, Sunset Healthcare Limited was profitable for the first time in years. The business newspapers noticed our success. The Guardian wrote a feature story, "Former Import King Revolutionizes Elderly Care." Business Day magazine called me the senior care mogul. International investors started calling. Everyone wanted to buy our company or invest in our expansion plans. That's when my children discovered what I had accomplished. Chai called first. Papa? I saw the newspaper article about you. Is this really true? Yes, Chai. It's true. But you're supposed to be retired. You're supposed to be resting at Golden Sunset. Chai, I was dying slowly at Golden Sunset. So I decided to buy the company instead. Obiageli called within an hour. Papa, people at my business club are asking about you. They say you own nursing homes now. Actually, Obiageli, I own 30 nursing homes across Lagos and Abuja. But how is this possible? You only had 20 million naira. Obiageli, money is just a tool. Experience and wisdom are worth more than cash. Akena called that evening. Papa, my colleagues at the hospital are talking about your healthcare company. They want to partner with you. How did you do this? Akena, I spent 3 months learning the business from inside. I saw problems and found solutions. Suddenly, all 3 children wanted to visit me. They came the following Sunday, all together like in the old days. But everything was different now. They found me in my new office at Golden Sunset headquarters. I had converted the entire top floor into my business center. I was wearing my best Igbata and reviewing expansion plans with Chief Adebola. Papa, Chaik said carefully, you look different. I feel alive again, Chaik. Obiageli sat down across from my mahogany desk. Papa, we need to talk seriously. About what, Obiageli? About us. About our family. About what we did to you. Ikena nodded gravely. Papa, we made terrible mistakes. I leaned back in my leather chair. What kind of mistakes? Chaik spoke first. When you gave us the inheritance, we thought you were giving up completely. We thought you wanted to stop working and just rest. Did I tell you that? No, Obiageli admitted. We assumed it without asking you. We were also afraid, Ikena said quietly. Afraid that you might change your mind about the money. So you decided to control me and take away my freedom? We thought we were protecting our inheritance and also protecting you, Shaik said, looking ashamed. But mostly protecting the money, I said directly. They sat in uncomfortable silence. Do you know what hurt me the most? I asked them. They waited for my answer. The worst thing was feeling like I had no value as a human being anymore. Like I was just an old man in the way. Like everything I had learned in 50 years of business was worthless garbage. Papa, we never meant to, Obiageli started to say. I raised my hand to stop her. Let me finish. I gave you 25 billion naira because I wanted to share my success with the children I love most. Instead, you used my generosity to throw me away like rubbish. Akena was crying now. Papa, we are so sorry. Please forgive us. Are you sorry because you hurt your father? Or are you sorry because I am successful again and you want to benefit? Shaik looked up sharply. What do you mean, Papa? I mean, would you be sitting here if I was still just a lonely old man in a nursing home? Or are you here because the newspapers are calling me a business genius again? They could not answer my question. I have been thinking about this for many days, I continued. About why you treated me with such disrespect. And I realized something important. I failed as your father. Papa, no, Obiageli protested. Yes, I did. I gave you everything you wanted, but I never taught you the most important lessons. I never taught you gratitude. I never taught you that money is not more important than people. I never taught you that children must take care of their parents, just as parents take care of their children. I stood up and walked to the window overlooking Lagos. I worked so hard to give you opportunities one never had. Western education, international exposure, connections with important people. But I forgot to give you the traditional African values that made me strong. The values that teach respect for elders and responsibility to family. I turned back to face them. You received 25 billion naira, and the first thing you did was abandon the man who earned it for you. That tells me everything about who you have become. Shaik stood up. Papa, please give us a chance to make this right. How? Obiageli joined him. We want to help you with your business. We want to be part of what you're building. Why should I trust you? Akena stood up as well. Because we love you, Papa. Because we realize what we lost when we pushed you away. What did you lose? We lost our father, Shaik said. We lost the man who taught us everything we know about life and business. And? Obiageli was crying now. And we lost our souls. We became greedy, selfish people who put money before family. We forgot the Igbo values you and Mama taught us. I studied their faces carefully. Were they truly sorry? Or did they just want to benefit from my new success? Here's what will happen, I said finally. I am expanding Sunset Healthcare. We are going to build the best elderly care company in West Africa. We will employ thousands of people. We will take care of tens of thousands of elderly Africans with dignity and respect. They listened carefully. If you want to be part of it, you can be. But not as my children asking for special treatment. As employees who must earn their positions. What do you mean? Shaik asked. I mean you start from the bottom. Shaik, you can work as our junior legal advisor, but at entry-level salary. Obiageli, you can help with operations but as an assistant manager. Akena, you can help with medical programs, but as a staff physician. Papa, we have our own successful businesses, Obiageli started. Then keep them, I said. This is my offer. Take it or leave it. They looked at each other uncertainly. What about our inheritance? Akena asked quietly. What about it? Do we still have the money you gave us? I smiled. The money I gave you belongs to you. I will not take it back. But you will not receive another kobo from me unless you earn it. And if we work for you? If we prove ourselves? Shaik asked. Then maybe, someday you will inherit something much more valuable than money. You will inherit a business built on caring for people. You will inherit the knowledge of how to create value instead of just consuming it. You will inherit the satisfaction of serving your community. I sat back down at my desk. But most importantly, you will inherit back the father you threw away in the rain 3 months ago. Shaik was the first to respond. I will take the job, Papa. So will I, said Obiageli. Me too, said Ikena. Good, I said. You start Monday morning at 6 a.m. You will work directly with residents for the first 6 months, cleaning, feeding, and caring for elderly people, so you understand what this business is really about. They nodded agreement. One more thing, I said. I am moving back to my family house. But Papa, we sold. Obiageli stopped mid-sentence. I bought it back yesterday. For 3 times what you sold it for. They stared at me in amazement. Chief Adebola was the buyer. He has been holding it for me, waiting for the right moment. Shaik shook his head in wonder. You planned all of this? Not exactly. But I never stopped thinking like a businessman. Even when I was sitting in that small room, feeling sorry for myself. I stood up again. My children, money can buy many things. Houses in Lekki, cars from Germany, clothes from Europe. It can buy comfort and security. But it cannot buy back trust once it is broken. Cannot buy back love once it is damaged. It cannot buy back respect once it is lost. I looked at each of them seriously. You have 25 billion naira. But you lost something more valuable. You lost your integrity. You lost your compassion for others. You lost your way as Africans. Can we find our way back, Papa? Obiageli asked. That depends entirely on you. Working for me will not be easy. I will expect more from you than any other boss because you are my children. I will pay you less than you are worth because you need to learn the value of earning success. And I will never let you forget how it felt to throw your father out in the rain. We deserve that treatment, Ikenna said. Yes, you do. But here's the beautiful thing about African family values, we always get second chances if we are willing to work for them. 6 months later, Sunset Healthcare had expanded to 60 facilities across Nigeria. We were featured on the cover of African Business magazine, The Okafor Family, Revolutionizing Elder Care in West Africa. Chike had become our chief legal officer after proving himself by personally caring for residents, learning patience and humility by helping elderly people with their daily needs. Obiageli was now our VP of operations after starting as a cleaning assistant. She learned efficiency and empathy by understanding how small details affected residents' quality of life. Ikenna was our chief medical officer after working as a nursing aide. He learned that medicine is about treating whole human beings with dignity, not just managing medical conditions. We still gathered for Sunday family meals at our ancestral home. But now our conversations were different. We talked about the residents we served. We shared stories about small victories and daily challenges. We planned new ways to improve our services. Most importantly, we had rediscovered traditional African values that money cannot buy. One Sunday evening, as we sat around the dinner table eating pounded yam and egusi soup, Obiageli raised her glass of palm wine. Papa, I want to make a toast. To what, my daughter? To the man who taught us that losing everything was the only way to find what really matters in life. Chike raised his glass. To the father who didn't abandon us even when we abandoned him. Ikenna raised his glass. To the teacher who showed us that success is not about what you accumulate, but about what you contribute to your people. I raised my glass of palm wine. To your mother Adaora, who would be proud that her children finally learned the difference between being rich and being wealthy. What is the difference, Papa? Obiageli asked. I looked around the table at their faces, older now, wiser, marked by the humility that comes from real work and real service to others. Rich is having 25 billion naira and throwing your father out in the rain. Wealthy is having your father's love and knowing it is worth more than all the money in the world. We drank our toast in respectful silence. Outside it started raining again. But this time I was warm and protected, surrounded by my family in the house where love and traditional values lived. The lesson was complete. Money had taught them what money could never buy. And in trying to lose their father, they had found themselves and their true African heritage.